I'm in the Big Apple to meet the big stars of the big screen in a big budget movie starring a big monkey. King Kong, the thriller with a gorilla, is Peter Jackson's follow-up to the mammoth Lord of the Rings trilogy. I'm in town to attend the world premiere and meet the director and the stars of this year's blockbuster movie event. King Kong stars Jack Black, Naomi Watts, Jamie Bell, Adrian Brody, and of course, the biggest monkey on the block, King Kong himself. Ladies and gents, boys and birds, welcome to the latest installment of Peter Jackson's epic on-screen imagination.
For 35 years, I've had this, movie as my favourite film, and the fact that I'm remaking it now is like an incredible dream come true.
Action!
I just thought a version of this wonderful story told with the technology that we have available to us today would be a really amazing thing.
The original black and white King Kong was released in 1933. 30 years ago, a flawed remake starring Jessica Lange and Jeff Bridges failed to impress critics and, well, anyone that saw it, actually. Now, almost 70 years after the cinematic birth of King Kong, he's back, bigger and better than ever before. It seems his spirit is irrepressible. King Kong kicks off with Carl Denham, an aspiring enchanting 1930s film director who obtains the map to a location of an otherwise uncharted island. Gathering together his two crews, sailors and filmmakers, he then sets off to make a movie in a location never before seen by man.
There's a wall ahead!
Upon arrival at Skull Island with his leading lady Ann Darrow, Denham and his acting company realise that there are a few hidden extras. And I'm not talking about background artists.
I wanted our Kong dinosaurs to be big and mean and very scary. This is not, dinosaurs as they were 65 million years ago. This is dinosaurs as they evolved to 1933 on Skull Island.
Skull Island is the land that time forgot. Populated by deadly giant insects, native human tribes, and a vicious variety of dinosaurs. When Ann Darrow finds herself face to face with a scary T-Rex, it's the great ape that leaps to her defense.
You have a wild beast who has literally fought for his survival every minute that he's been alive, and he empathizes with another living creature for the very first time.
Of course, this is not merely a tearjerker. Kong breaks heads as well as hearts. And who wouldn't want to see a big monkey fighting a dinosaur? Actually, make that 3 dinosaurs. Having taken on all comers in his animal kingdom, the chunky monkey finally succumbs to the human invaders and is transported to the new world. Denham puts himself in the monkey business by selling your mate, my mate, the primate, as the 8th wonder of the world. You can take the monkey out of the wild, but you can't take the wild out of the monkey. Get this, the biggest budget in movie-making history. Over 2 years in the making and capitalising on the technology used for the Lord of the Rings series. This movie is all about the new. New Zealand sets and wizardry helped recreate New York in the 1930s to bring us a new and improved King Kong.
We wanted to go into Skull Island and realize there's not just one dinosaur, there's a whole family of T-Rexes. There's probably more out there. This is how Kong survived all these years as this lonely gorilla, fighting all these other huge creatures for dominance and for survival.
Obviously the greatest brief to a bunch of guys like us, come up with some crazy creatures to populate Skull Island.
Let's just try looking at putting its nostrils down a little bit lower.
Over 100 artists and model makers have been utilising clay, crayons and their devilish imaginations to bring us lurid, lethal creatures that Darwin could only have dreamed of.
Probably the neatest one is the pit slugs. These sickly, disgusting monsters were conjured up by one of the guys in our design department.
To save you from the gory glory of the pit slugs, we're only going to reveal the artist's impression of these vile varmints.
We designed a huge menagerie to populate the island with about 200 creatures. Ultimately, 14 made them to the film.
And here's just a taster of Weta's wicked world of warped creatures. Now, put yourself in Peter Jackson's place, if you will. Who do you cast as a big, scary, dangerous, dripping fangs monkey? Apparently Steve Jones's people were asking too high a fee, so there's only one choice. It's the man who played computer-generated Gollum in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, Brit actor Andy Serkis.
The whole purpose of having an actor play Kong, which is Pete's idea, is creating that character in the minds of the other people who you're acting with. So they're not imagining Kong, they've got an actor there playing that character. Every scene that took place between Kong and Anne, I was on set working with Naomi, and I was on top of ladders and on top of cranes and scissor lifts, but I was in a gorilla muscle suit and I had dentures in gorilla teeth, and I would then be in the motion capture suit with the dots all over and facial markers, because this time we used facial motion capture to drive the facial expressions of Kong. The sound department then took all the vocalizations that I did as a basis and then work it to make it sound like a 24-foot gorilla. The final Kong that we're seeing now on screen, it's an amazing thing.
To prepare for his unique role, Andy befriended primates at London Zoo and studied mountain gorillas in their natural habitat.
When we set about doing this version, I was very keen to observe, real gorillas and root Kong's character in real behaviour. As a contrast, he is a very isolated, lonely and pretty haunted sort of gorilla. There's kind of gorilla etiquette when you go to visit gorillas in the wild. You have to keep a 7-metre exclusion zone between yourself and the gorillas, but they don't know that and they don't observe that, and they come up to you and they prod you and... Thank you. There are only 700 mountain gorillas left in the world. They're all in one national park which border Rwanda, the Congo, and 700. I mean, it's nothing.
Now, Andy doesn't only play Kong, he has another role too.
His name's Lumpy, he's the ship's cook.
Neither beast nor man. There's something monstrous living behind that wall.
He sort of reluctantly becomes involved in the rescue mission for Anne. He's a bit superstitious and he's a terrible cook. He's an absolutely awful cook.
I can't believe you've done that to another jacket of mine.
Keep your breath bated, because coming up in part 2, I'll be swapping words with the bearded genius that is Peter Jackson, Oscar-winning actor Adrian Brody, Billy Elliot himself, Jamie Bell, funny man Jack Black, and stunning leading lady Naomi Watts. Oh, and not forgetting the star-studded premiere here in Times Square, New York City. Welcome back, dear viewer. May I take a moment to compliment you on your rare and fine taste. Now, you've probably noticed all the hubbub behind me. That's because it's the premiere. That's the world premiere of the most expensive movie ever made, King Kong, directed by Oscar winner Peter Jackson, whom I spoke with earlier. Now, Peter, After the Lord of the Rings trilogy, you had the freedom to make any movie you wanted. Why King Kong?
Well, Kong is my all-time dream movie. I watched the original film when I was 9 years old, the 1933 film on TV, and it inspired me to want to become a filmmaker. The day after I saw Kong, I actually got a lump of plasticine. I molded it into a brontosaurus, and I got my mum and dad's Super 8 movie camera, and I tried to animate this brontosaurus and bring it to life. I was so encaptured with the idea of filmmaking and monster making and bringing these creatures to life, and that really, you know, sustained me all the way through my teenage years, and it drove me towards the career that I've got now.
How does your 21st century King Kong differ from its predecessors?
We had to figure out a few things that are not really explained in 1933, and they're not explained particularly in our movie either, but I've always imagined that Kong is 120 years old. He's a solitary gorilla. He had a mother and father on this island, but they've since died, probably killed by the tyrannosaurs. But what's at the heart of the story, obviously, is that this emotional bond between Kong and Anne starts to take place, starts to form, just as the other sailors are going into the island trying to save her and encountering dinosaurs and all sorts of things. She's beginning to form a friendship with Kong, which really does form the heart of the story. I mean, it makes Kong what he is. It makes him different to Godzilla and to other monster movies. I mean, this heart and this soul and this relationship is what King Kong means.
Spielberg, Coppola, Lucas, and now yourself. Does filmmaking genius require a beard?
Well, I think it does. We're probably all too busy to be able to shave. You get up in the morning, you're exhausted, you've got to go to set, you ain't no time for shaving.
Peter Jackson there, a very nice man indeed. Now, Jamie Bell, he won a BAFTA for his role as Billy Elliot, and since then, he's grown up quite a lot. He's now shaving and everything. Even his voice has changed, though not quite how you'd expect. I caught up with him and co-stars Evan Park and Thomas Kretschmann. Guys, really, really nice to see you today. Now, Jamie, who are you playing in King Kong?
I play the lookout on the ship. He's called Jimmy, who's basically a stowaway. And from the very kind of beginning, Evan's character kind of says, you know, wherever he came from, it was no place good.
Now, Jamie, you've described Peter Jackson as a big kid. Now, how do you think he would describe you?
Probably. I mean, in the essence of the way we were making the film, probably exactly the same. You know, I mean, that's the great thing about Peter is that, you know, he first saw this film, I think, when he was like 9 years old, and this is the movie that made him want to make movies.
I'm detecting something in the accent there.
I'm sure it's the transatlantic twang that people pick up as they cross backwards and forwards, but you know, still very.
That's some New York in there.
Yeah, these guys got a little bit confused when I kind of met up with them because they kind of forget that I'm English sometimes.
Yeah, and that's why
we just simply don't understand what you're saying.
I'm still trying to figure out if that was an American accent then. There was definitely a bit of Geordie and maybe a little hint of Kiwi. Anyway, now King Kong's obviously the major star of this movie, but there are also three major players, Jack Black, Naomi Watts and Adrian Brody. And in my first interview with this holy trinity, I decided to speak to Adrian Brody, a native New Yorker. Now, I've got to ask, who is your character, Jack Driscoll?
Jack's a screenwriter, and he's a playwright in New York, and obviously falls in love with the leading lady that he's writing for, which Anne Darrow, and seems that screenwriters and gorillas have the same taste in women. Good legs. Sea legs. Yeah, sea legs. Yeah. Not that you don't have good legs. I'm just making conversation.
You, Naomi Watts, and a big, big monkey. Is this the most bizarre love triangle in movie history?
It's an interesting thing. I mean, obviously, Anne's relationship with Kong is not a sexual one. That I understand, obviously, what he sees in this woman. I understand that I'm a threat to him, but at the same time, he's not my enemy. He's not, you know, I'm not in a competition with him. And but at the same time, I am out to go save her and bring her back.
Now, it's a heroic action lead, Jack Driscoll. How much fun did you actually have playing him?
It's pretty interesting that I got the shot at it. I love it. It's good fun, yeah.
What's your favourite memory from being on set?
I convinced Pete to let me do my driving stunts. We were initially going to do them as green screen shots, and I was bragging to Pete about my driving prowess and growing up in Queens and drag racing and everything. And so I had trained with a stuntman before. I know how to do tricks, and so I showed up one day on the set, and he had it was nighttime, and they'd built this beautiful New York City set with blocks, and there was this souped-up taxi cab there with 6 cameras strapped to it, and he gave me the keys, and he said, "You're driving." And
it's all yours, buddy.
I was pushing it. I was pushing that car hard.
Just how dangerous did it get?
I had wheels off the ground, so that's hard.
Always a pleasure to speak with Adrien Brody, youngest ever winner of the Best Actor Oscar, don't you know? Now, Naomi Watts is stepping into some very large shoes taking on the role of Ann Darrow in King Kong, made legend by Fay Wray back in 1933. But before anything else, I wanted to know, where exactly is she coming from? Born in Suffolk, raised in Oz. Whereabouts is Naomi Watts really from?
I moved to Australia when I was 14. I'm both English and Australian. I have a British passport. I have Australian residency. I feel very much a combination of both.
So tell me, who is Ann Darrow?
Anne is a terrific spirit. She's a woman who's had a tough background. She's down on her luck. Her spirit has never been broken, and she's tough, and she's able to fend for herself. And then you put her in the jungle, and this spirit comes through, and I think that's what stops Kong from shredding her to pieces.
Just how many bruises did you collect making King Kong? That's what I'd like to know.
Many, on a daily basis. Cuts, sprains, scratches, bruises, aches, pains, you name it. All for the love of my craft.
Now, from a genuine beauty to a figure somewhat closer to Beast, it's Manic Music Muse Jack Black, singer with the mighty Tenacious D, star of School of Rock, and the character that makes the King Kong carnage possible, Carl Denham. Jack gave me a little insight as to why he's such a diamond geezer. Who is your character, Carl Denham?
Carl Denham is the filmmaker within the film King Kong. He's a power-hungry, sort of insecure beast of a man.
Another week. Gotta film yet. Please. I have risked everything I have on this.
No, Denham. You risked everything I have.
Jack, how much truth is there in Peter's suggestion that your character is loosely based on Orson Welles?
Well, the negative traits of Orson. Super ambitious, sort of cocky, audacious, reckless. Yeah, those traits. Maybe not all of the genius and talent of Orson, but all of those other things.
But is there any Peter Jackson in your Carl Denham?
Very little. And he's had so much success, whereas Carl Denham is obsessed with getting it, whereas Peter's just out there having a good time.
Now, did you keep the cast entertained with any songs from the mighty catalogue of Tenacious D?
I tried to keep that in my trailer. I didn't want to go around showboating my kick-ass talents. I want to show off.
So can you tell me about the moment that you learned that you got the part in King Kong?
I interviewed, and then I didn't hear whether or not I got it for a couple months, and then I got the call.
And how did you celebrate?
The celebration was a quiet one inside my own mind. I didn't want to tell people that I got the part I wanted to keep it well hid in my pocket like a shiny diamond. And just look at it and leave it in my pocket and just be going about my daily business. Yeah, how's it going? Yeah, doing the laundry. Yeah, playing poker with my friends. And then secretly I'd bring out my diamond. You're mine, my precious.
The stars of the show turned out for the world premiere, bringing along some friends, old and new.
So, Peter, is this your date for tonight?
He's my date, yeah. This is the original King Kong from 1933. He's 72 years old, very old man, little bit stiff in the joints, but he's coming to see what he thinks about the movie tonight.
And what are you looking forward to most from King Kong tonight?
I'm just excited to see it. I think it's going to be very entertaining, a lot of fun, and very emotional.
Now, since the creators of King Kong are giving us a monster Christmas present with this movie, I thought it only fair to ask what they wish for themselves in the gift department. And there are some truly noble choices.
A rest, a long rest and a sleep, and some fun with the kids.
I'm going to Australia for Christmas, and I'm looking forward to just being quiet.
I don't know. I want the King Kong video game, actually, is what I really want.
For Christmas, I was hoping for, did you see when Kylie Minogue had that, like, black suit with the feathers coming out of her butt? I kind of want that.
So there you have it. Let's hope they've been more nice than naughty this year, except Adrian, because he can be as naughty as he wants because he doesn't actually want anything.
I don't need anything. The fact that this movie is coming out around Christmas is a big gift, and I mean that.
A Christmas gift from Peter Jackson and his filmmaking family. A truly epic season's greetings. Bye-bye.
They've gone.
Gone. Not yet. Wait. Wait.